Hi, I'm Cynthia Schiller. Please like and subscribe. So let's get a little deeper into this narcissistic abuse, how it happens, and some mind-blowing things about this disorder and how it can devastate lives. So I just watched something on childhood trauma and how people are attracted to the people that abuse them, like their parents. And they often end up with somebody who is like their parent. And since they are emotionally damaged and hopefully we're empathetic people, it doesn't work. And I want to get deep into that because it seems like a lot of us had good intentions, true intentions. And where did this all go wrong? So we had a good childhood for the most part. Comment below if you didn't, but we came out of it emotionally strong. So the narcissist saw things in us that they wanted, but it's not a comfort. They're not reliving that trauma. And it sounds so weird to want to relive a trauma, but that's their comfort. We smell certain things and it brings us back to our childhood. We see certain things and we remember what it was like to be as a child. I I took my daughter to like this winter wonderland and it was fascinating when I was a child. As an adult, it was kind of a letdown. We saw what it was really like. But from a child's perspective, they're little and everything's exciting and it's so different. And when the narcissist gets into this relationship, they're seeing this wonderland. And as they go through time, they see it for what it really is. Um, Nice, but not this wonderland that they envisioned. And so they start treating us with anger towards us that we were a reality. It was just a different perspective. And they didn't appreciate who we were. And when you're in love, you truly appreciate the flaws. They might drive you crazy, but you still love the person. But the narcissist sees it as a failure. So with mine, my first one, I was like his dad. So his parents separated and his dad was very outgoing. My first one was kind of melancholy, kind of quiet, very stern, succinct. And his dad was more of a free spirit, very popular, knew everybody, very giving, opened his house to everybody, knew everybody in town, very sociable. And that's what I am. So that's also the one thing that he hated about his dad. He loved his dad, but he hated that part about his dad, took away his identity. So he was raised by his father. Now, my second one, it seems like he was missing the father figure. So he didn't really identify with a male. I don't really know his mom, but there's good and bad. So there's got to be some toxicity. Dabbled in things she shouldn't have dabbled in and had some addictions, things like that. But she was also very giving, is what it seems like. And so with her two sides, it's confusing to a kid. Like, who is this person? Who do I identify with? And so he saw the good in me because I didn't have that other side to me, but that wasn't the abusive side. And it's odd how certain people will be drawn back into that abuse, just like us. I mean, we have to, when we're trying to, like, what are you talking about? Think about us. We're Stockholm syndrome to our person. Like, we're in love with our abuser. And that's kind of what the narcissist is. They're in love with their abuser, and not in a sexual way, but in a comfort way that they'll retreat towards that comfort zone. And just like if we're going outside our house and we get scared, we run back into point of safety. We go where we think it would be safe. And it's an odd type of safety because we're trying to do that too sometimes. Hopefully you guys have broken past that, but we're trying to get back to some comfort. So the narcissist latches onto us. It's an odd twist. It's easier to get a good person to do something for you than to get a selfish person. So we're giving, we're loving, and we put up with their crap. They test the waters to see how much they can get away with, and they trap us. And some of it's intentional, some of it isn't. There's comorbidities, there's different types of mental illnesses. We have to be real careful about diagnosing our person, because even 50% of therapists get it wrong on diagnosing narcissistic personality disorder because of all the lies. And they are charming, and they don't like to admit to things or take accountability. So some of their stories, when you only hear a one-sided aspect of it, could be believable. And, you know, as time goes on, we get to know them, they get to know us, and it doesn't get to the deep level because they're searching for something. When they need to pull from inside. And this is what I mean by that. We're empathetic, which means that we can relate to things, but to them it's foreign. They don't have the capability of empathy, or if they do, some do have empathy, but they can't take the accountability. And when they don't take the accountability, it's really not empathetic because they blame shift. And that right there is not empathetic because they don't foresee the damage that they're causing. They damage us whether they have empathy or not. The way they handle things, the lies, the manipulation, the sulking. I saw another thing too about it said men. If a man doesn't feel appreciated, he will kind of, to paraphrase it, go into survival mode and just be quiet, withdraw, things like that. And that's pretty much narcissistic. Some of that, not all men are like that, but there are times when, you know, people do shut down, that they don't know how to handle certain things. But when you love someone, you know, we all need time to heal, time to reflect, but it's so different with a narcissist because a lot of times it's not even over something we did, or we did it with good intentions and it was twisted, it wasn't appreciated. And that's kind of like in the childlike mentality of parents who sometimes do try to do the best, or, you know, unless it's 100% perfect, it's not appreciated. You know, so maybe in the narcissistic household as a child, you know, the damage that was done in childhood, and it continued on. Now, some people can get personality disorders later on in life. Trauma does play a big part of it. And this whole world is really, I've been pretty upset. You haven't seen me in the last couple days that much because it's really sad what this world is coming to. All the research I'm doing, reading comments. So some of it is, I got my DSM-5 here. I got psychology books, all that stuff, like a lot of research, but I want to see what lay people really see, because they're the ones we're usually interacting with, and their perceptions on things, and the way that people cut each other down, or misinterpret some things is horrendous. It's so toxic. so many crossed intentions on what people are trying to say, and then the abuse that somebody gets in the comments when they had and it's not even necessarily something I agree with, but their point was understandable. People don't understand other people, and society is falling apart because of it. We're also changing, people feeling entitled to everything. I did a video on equality versus equity, the changing roles between men and women. Another video I saw today was on men will do this little test, interest test, to see how interested a female is. So what he'll do is he'll stop texting for a while just to see if the girl's really interested. So he starts out doing, several dates or texts or calls, and then just stops to see if she's interested. And one woman was like, screw that. If anybody ever does that to me, they're done. Another is like, one text to him is not going to be chasing, because women are taught not to chase. And it gets really frustrating as a woman. Like, we need to have that feminine energy and just like sit on a shelf like a wallflower. But then they say that women usually are the ones that text first, but then we're not valued if we're doing that. There's different perspectives on how you see things, that if you do the best, that you'll reap what you sow, but others see it as you do the best for other people, they're going to take advantage of it. All depends on who you're dealing with, but there are risks in life. And with the narcissist, we took a risk. Over time, the red flags started to appear. They didn't appear right away. The narcissist hid them from us because they only said certain things that would either get us to feel sorry for them, or it was just a way for them to get their foot in the door. And then once they got that foot in the door, it's like the kids at school that you let them in the room and you have your head just turned, they go wild. And it's a free for all with a narcissist. They just want to do whatever they want to do. And the more I see the kids in school, I had one, she was sad, and it was interesting how she started talking a little different way. And she was really good in the beginning of the year. I think she has a pretty good family, but she's a kid. I'm not saying she's mentally ill, but she was kind of sad and missed her mom and just started talking a little different. I can't even imitate it, but you see narcissists sometimes where I've seen this with women. I don't know if it's maybe men here and there, but mostly women, they'll try to talk, oh, like super cute, and it's a facade. It's not them. It's interesting to see how people change. I remember seeing Boys on the Beach where this one guy like tapped his chest, and he like, how did he do it? I can't remember if he went, yeah, he brought it up and out and tensed, like he's flexing. And he would do that. It was so funny. He would do that as the females walk by. So there's girls in bikinis, and he's like flexing, trying to impress. And that's kind of what the narcissist does, is they put on this false image to attract, to fool us. But getting back on topic, when the narcissist sees us for who we really are, it's like an anger. So my first one was angry that I was like his dad. It was the comfort of being like dad. But then he's back into that anger state. So anything about me starts to devalue, even though I brought him into the place that he wanted to be. And the love and all that stuff is kind of maternal, and his mother left. Men can be loving too, but the other one up and ghosted. Maybe that has something relating to the father just disappearing. That's how you handle things. No need for discussion. He's just gone. You hurt me. They have a fear of things falling apart because every relationship that they have falls apart. So is that self-sabotage. My second one did that so bad. First one, I wasn't really quite as aware, and it kind of flowed a little easier to where, yeah, you got ghosted, all that crap, or fizzled out and then back together. But the second one, it was really interesting how you think everything's going okay and you just get ghosted. You know, you would think it's okay to break up, but at least talk about it. Or, you know, they pop in and out of your life so much. It's like, why can't we just, even if we're just going to be friends, why can't we just keep it consistent? And because they don't keep it consistent, that's where the trauma bond happens, with the intermittent reinforcement, keeping us confused. If it was consistent, and when it doesn't get consistent, you're like, hey, what was going on? I was a little worried about you. You would expect to get a reply like, no, I'm not mad at you. I've just been busy, or I went out of town. But they can ghost for weeks, years, decades. And it's different if both people stop reaching out. But if you're like, hey, what's up? What's up? It's hurtful. But the narcissist, it's that mirroring thing. And it's so deep that to be comfortable mirroring, people are attracted to like things. So if you like to do something I like to do, we're going to have a lot better time than if I don't even know what to, I don't know, we'll just say downhill skiing, whatever. Let's say I love downhill skiing and you can't stand the cold or snow or heights, anything like that. Like, you are going to be so uncomfortable. We're best friends, but you're going to hate that. So mirroring, you can develop deeper relationships when you guys match. And it's a one-way mirror with the narcissist. So we're not looking into their soul. This is where it gets deep. We're not looking into their soul. They're mirroring back what we are. So we're falling in love with ourselves. And then when the narcissist looks at us, they don't see themselves. It finally clicks in that when the mask falls, that's when they see who they are. They don't like who they are. So they take it out on us because it's almost like they feel we've like fooled them in a sense, that, you know, we have a tolerance of, you know, we can't take the crap anymore. And sometimes, you know, we come to them even kind-hearted and soft-spoken, and it's just an unbreakable shell to where they won't let us in. They won't tell us what's wrong. And they hate us because they hate themselves. That's the mirror we get from them. You would think when you give love, it's easy to get back. But when somebody is empty inside, they don't have that to give. They're scared to give anything of themselves. They're scared that they're not going to be loved because they never felt loved or loved the way that they needed to be loved. And so much goes back to the childhood and the safety that they had is just like our safety that we had with them. Toxic as fuck. We had somebody by our sides. We had somebody, maybe we were living with them, or somebody to help with things. So I hope that gets us to understand why they want to go back to the toxic instead of staying in the healthy. Because right now we have a choice. We have a choice right now. And it's a tough choice because it hurts. It's scary. Just like Let's say a tornado was coming and, we could run back inside. Tornado's coming right at us. Or we could take a detour into a deep cellar. We're going to be safer here, but we're scared to leave our safety net. But the tornado, the narcissist, they've left our lives. They've left our lives so we can go to where it's safe. But if we go back to them and let them proceed, it's complete devastation. And it makes us lose ourselves. Like, that is the most unsettling feeling. And that's why, to understand a narcissist, they lost themselves. We are losing ourselves, but we haven't lost ourselves. And unless things change around with the narcissist, which is highly unlikely, they do have some I don't want to use recidivism, remission, that some of them will go into remission. The success rate was like 53%, but most narcissists don't stay in counseling. So it changes, since without counseling, they don't stay in remission most of the time. They go into that recidivism where they're repeating their actions. They're going back to the toxic safety net, and they're going to act like a child because that's who they were when it was toxic. And our narcissist also, when we're dealing with them, they crush us down to where we're a child because they're trying to overpower, and it's all these crazy dynamics that it's a roller coaster. So know who you are. Take this. This is the most important thing you'll probably ever take from me. Know who you are. Really take some research. Are you a religious person? Are you a giving person? You don't have to be religious. Are you sexual, non-sexual, where you don't like certain touches? If you can find somebody who matches up to your desires and your interests, but when you fall in love with somebody, if they're into different things, you can either go with them or agree. It's all the communication, because if you're loving, you might as well go to the football game. But if you really hate it, have good communication. We can't have a perfect match. It'd be few and far between to find that. But with the good communication, things are going to be okay. But when it's not good communication, or it's brought in as a false reality, so we think we had this perfect match. That's why they all often comment below, were you told you were a soulmate? That you're their soulmate, and often they'll say that quickly, and they say they love you in the beginning, then they dwindle that down, and the mirror's gone. So we're uncomfortable because we're in a situation we don't want to be in. I saw another thing today about the body is not meant to be sick. We should never be sick. And our body is trying to tell us something. So there was a lot of toxic comments on that, because there are cancers, there is COVID, there are all different kinds of things, but it's our body trying to tell us something. Usually, if you live healthy, eat healthy, avoid polluted areas, things like that, like it is our body trying to tell us something. So we're able to heal ourselves. They say laughter is the best medicine. There are some things that we can't overcome, but for the most part, the healthier we are emotionally, mentally, the healthier we will be physically. So there are external factors that can affect that, or genetics, but we can also make ourselves sick. And I told you about that research where You know, if you tell somebody, oh, you don't look too good today. Do you feel okay? And every other coworker says that throughout the day. Eventually that person's probably going to go home sick or feel sick. And we got to take note of what our body is telling us. If we have headaches or an upset stomach, our body is telling us something. Either we're too stressed, not getting enough sleep, or we're in a toxic relationship. But our body is telling us something. All these panic attacks that we're having, our body is telling us we were in a toxic relationship and it's time to heal. So I just thought it was pretty interesting how the narcissist can't deal with a healthy person. So either you stay in that unhealthy state, but you're going to get sicker. And it's hard because during that love bombing stage, they made us feel so amazing. But they made you feel who you really are. So don't put your identity in a relationship, or don't put your identity in being so-and-so's wife or husband or boyfriend, girlfriend. Become whole in yourself again. And comment below, like and subscribe. Topic requests are always welcome. And I do one-on-ones. I'll talk to you soon.